Hey there guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to Rule of Two Review. So I just want to say before I get started on the topic that what you are watching right now is footage of the Turok the Dinosaur remaster that finally released on the Xbox One this past weekend. Now this was released, or I should say redone, by Night Dive Studios and released on Steam and PC I think around a year ago. And around the time that it released on Steam, it was also announced that eventually Turok and Turok 2 Seeds of Evil would be coming to the Xbox One, and that news totally disappeared, which made me sad because I was like, hey, I'm not really going to play a game like this on my PC. I don't really do much PC gaming anymore. I would much rather have these on my Xbox One because I use those all the time. And here we are, and finally, a year later, they just released these two games, and I am in love with this, you guys. This is like my pure heaven. Something about the Turok games, which I obviously was playing when they were brand new on the N64, I just love these games, and I've always kept mostly the first two games kind of just in my memory as two of my favorite gaming experiences from that time, like the mid-late 90s when they released for the 64. I was in high school, I think even getting close to graduating when, let me think, I think the first one was 96 or 97-ish, and I graduated in 99, so I guess I was probably like a sophomore or junior, and I don't know, what else to say. I just really love these games. These are highly recommended for anyone who either misses that era of gaming or just kind of wants to experience that era of gaming, and I will say that they did an amazing job with these remasters. What I love, or I should say remaster, I've yet to actually dive into Turok 2. I'm trying to work my way through Turok 1, which I'm about probably 1/3 through. And, I have to say that they did a great job here because they basically made everything HD, and they improved a couple of mechanics here and there, and they made sure the frame rate was solid, and gave you some visual options that let you tweak how you want things to look, sort of like a PC would allow you to do. But for the most part, I actually really admire and appreciate that they kept the N64 look and feel intact. Now, I say that because when I actually was texting with my younger brother about this a couple days ago when I first started playing Turok 1, he's somebody who, we played this game a lot together, mostly Turok 1. Him and I would play it a lot together back in the day when we were younger. And he was like, yeah, like I kind of wanted to get them, but when I saw that they weren't like remasters, they were just like HD upreses, I was less interested. And that's when I realized, I actually I'm glad they didn't do that. Sometimes a complete remaster, the way like Resident Evil was done in the past, or Shadow of the Colossus recently, that stuff is great for sure when it comes to an old game, but I'm actually such a weird fan of the N64 era, and yes, there's an argument to be made that that era of gaming doesn't age well, and in most ways that is true, I agree with that, but there are some times where it can still come out fairly timeless. I think the two Zelda games from the 64 still work, Mario 64, the Banjo-Kazooie games, and I'm discovering now the Turok games. Turok 1, this game looks and plays so fantastic with, sharper graphics and a smoothed out frame rate. It's just amazing, and I'm steeped in nostalgia playing this game, and I'm having such a blast. And so anyway, that's just my quick little intro story. I wanted to talk about it because I'm so thrilled that these games were released. I've been craving these Turok games for the last couple of years, and now magically they've been re-released in HD, and they are fantastic, and I super recommend them. And now with that little thing out of the way, I wanted to get into the main topic, and I want to further discuss the Nintendo Switch now in year 2. Of course, also over this past weekend, we did finally hit the 1-year anniversary of the Nintendo Switch. You guys all know it. We've all been talking about it. Everyone's been tweeting about it. Myself and everyone else in the Nintendo gaming community made videos about it. I, of course, was on the Spawncast this past weekend where a whole bunch of us, many people got together to discuss and celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the Nintendo Switch. And that means that now we're a couple of days into what is officially year 2. And I've discussed the idea of year 2 and where it might go, how good it could be, how bad it might be. Are we going to see more third-party games? Are we going to see more first-party games? All these things. I have discussed it, so I will be sort of reiterating some previous points, but I felt that it was very timely and relevant to make one more quick sort of update video and share a couple of thoughts over year 2 for the Nintendo Switch, just from my perspective and my opinion, and what I think might happen. Of course, the big question is, after such an amazing, incredible, impressive, and successful first year for the Nintendo Switch, will year 2 be just as successful and monumental, or even better? And I have to say that ultimately my guess here, my opinion and my guess, which of course could be wrong, but right now my guess is going to be probably no. And again, I know I've kind of hit this beat before in previous videos, but I'm trying to compile many thoughts into just one video video here today, I do really feel like it's going to be so hard for Nintendo to match how the first year of the Nintendo Switch played out, because they were already prepared to give us an amazing and incredibly consistent stream of quality first-party Nintendo games throughout the entire first calendar year. Holy smokes, unbelievable what they did, really. I mean, again, we could all keep talking about Mario and Zelda and these other games. We all know that they did that, and that was amazing. And you know what? I don't think that they're going to be able to do that again. And I don't even think it's a bad thing. That's probably the ultimate point I think I'm trying to get to here is I don't think Nintendo themselves will repeat the same success. However, I also don't think that they need to. If they achieve even a third of the success as far as how many great first-party games they released in year 2, I think that that's fine. I think that that's almost all you could expect from any company in their second year, and especially a Nintendo coming off such an amazing first year. That is kind of an anomaly. 2017, launching the Nintendo Switch and everything Nintendo themselves gave us, that is the anomaly, you guys. 2017 is the exception to the rule. Typically, the rule says the first launch year of a console is filled with not so many great games. Now, of course, when we do still think of Nintendo in year 2, again, reminding you guys, I know I've talked about a lot of this stuff, including very recently. Even in this past week, I've talked about some of this stuff. But we know we're going to get some first-party stuff from Nintendo this year that will be great. All we know of that's confirmed is Kirby, Yoshi, and Fire Emblem. And of course, Fire Emblem is incredibly mysterious. There is the slight possibility that they end up delaying it to 2019. I don't expect that, but we have to keep ourselves open to it until they finally show it to us. And, you know, like I said, I firmly believe that they're going to reveal this game to be either summer or a holiday game for Fire Emblem, as I discussed in my last video. We have Kirby coming out literally next week. March 16th, I believe, is the date. Yoshi is mysterious as far as when it's going to release, but we have seen some information, some gameplay and trailers and stuff for that game before as well, so that's really exciting. That game, I think, is far enough along that I feel almost 100% that game will stick to 2018 and still release in 2018. So hey, there's 3 pretty awesome games that we know we're going to get. I think Kirby's going to be really good. I don't yet know that I want to buy it, as I was tweeting about earlier after playing the demo. I think Yoshi's going to be fantastic. Fire Emblem will not only be amazing, I think it's going to sell incredibly well to the established Nintendo Switch audience. You know, I said this on my last video as well. I don't think it's going to be a system seller, but I think it's going to sell incredibly well to all of us who have Switches, because the Nintendo fan loves Fire Emblem, and I think this console, Fire Emblem, is going to be so good. And then there's all the other mystery games. When will Metroid Prime 4 come out? If it comes out in 2018 in year 2, or even early 2019, there we go. That's going to really aid year 2 in 2018 really feeling solid. Same with Pokemon. Does that come out in year 2? Maybe, possibly. That could aid in year 2 being fantastic as well. Lots of other mystery games we haven't heard of. And again, all the games I just talked about, the Smash Brothers of the world and the Animal Crossings of the world and stuff like that. So I feel like Nintendo gave us so much great first-party stuff in year 1. That's why I feel like no matter what they do, unless they really cram every single one of these series that I already talked about into year 2, that there's no way they're going to repeat that success. If they did manage to get Fire Emblem and Smash Brothers and Metroid and Pokemon and Animal Crossing all out in year 2, I mean, we actually almost could have a case on our hands for it being that good, but it's not going to happen, guys. There's no way they're going to do in 2018 what they also did in 2017. Of course, this conversation wouldn't be complete without me revisiting the third-party scenario for year 2 as well. And that could go a couple of different ways. I've gone on record saying I think year 2 will be great for third parties, and the success and the growing relationship and growing library of quality third-party games that we saw in 2017 will continue in 2018, and I think we will continue to get more great ones. However, some other people have made some really great points before as well that, you know what, with 2018 and year 2 of the Switch happening, an argument could be made that really we might have a slight lull in third-party games, because with year 1 turning out so successful, more so than anyone thought, we're probably going to be in this weird gap period in 2018 where all of these third parties who weren't ready to support the Switch in year 1 are now working on stuff to support the Switch, and of course that could take time, which means we might see a lull in big third-party support in 2018 because all these companies are actually working on stuff to release soon now that they're like, oh my god, the Switch is a huge hit, we totally missed the boat, we had our pants down and we're surprised, and now we don't have stuff to release on this amazingly hot selling machine. Let's start cranking stuff out. So they might spend a lot of 2018 making games to get a lot of these games ready to release next year in 2019, which of course, once we hit March 2019, will then be into year 3. for the Switch. So will that affect how much third-party stuff we see in 2018? Maybe. While I do still ultimately think we're going to see more awesome third-party games keep coming in 2018, there is a possibility that that's true, and maybe we will see that kind of lull because everyone, again, was so surprised by the Switch that they're working on making games, and it's going to take them a while to come out next year. But, you know, there's a couple of games I've talked about that I feel will be huge boons for the Switch to get from third parties this year. I will, to the end of my days, basically until November 2018 comes and goes, I will believe that this year's Call of Duty, which is rumored to be Black Ops 4, but not yet confirmed, that this year's Call of Duty will release on the Switch. I do not think Activision is going to let that go. So that is going to be a huge win and a huge get for Nintendo and the Switch, and for us, the audience, so I expect Call of Duty. Grand Theft Auto is a big rumor and a mystery. I cannot possibly envision a world where Rockstar lets this go. They would be out of their minds not to bring, at the very least, Grand Theft Auto 5 to the Nintendo Switch and make jillions of more dollars that they've already made on that game. I mean, if anything, they're probably so proud of the milestones that game keeps hitting. Why not continue the milestones? Why not just keep padding that amazing record and this amazing success that game has had by throwing it onto the new, wildly successful Switch? I mean, and it might even be the first time I finally decide to jump in and give that game a shot, because I'd love to try it portably on my Switch. I think that we are going to get, and I know we're all going to groan over EA here, you guys, but I do still believe that we will get more EA Sports games. I truly believe that, you know. On the podcast this past weekend, someone brought up that apparently, I think he was the one who brought up that he was familiar with FIFA on the Switch sold about 500,000 copies, I think, and it was like the third best-selling third-party game on the Switch in year one in 2017, and that is not only a surprise, but kind of a good thing. And I know EA sucks right now. We're all mad at them. I'm mad at them as well. But at the end of the day, they also are a company that matters, and their games matter. They sell to people. Their games can sometimes even sell people on hardware, sell people on consoles. So if we get Madden and NHL and NBA and FIFA again next year, and hopefully better quality versions of these games, and obviously hopefully no loot boxes and whatever that happens there, if we get that stuff in year two, that would be huge. And I expect it. I expect FIFA to come back. I expect to see Madden. NHL and NBA, I don't 100% know yet, but if we did get those, it would be really fantastic. And then, of course, we know Wolfenstein is going to be releasing at some point, and that is going to be very cool. Cannot wait to pick that up. Maybe we finally see Fallout also coming from Bethesda because they've been supporters. I think Activision/Blizzard is going to be jumping on board. Some rumors and back and forth about Diablo 3 with their light switch post, and we know that they've denied working on Diablo right now, but I and many other people think that that might not be true, and I kind of think that they might be preparing Diablo 3 for the Switch, because that would be a fantastic game on the Switch. I think it would be very successful and people would super dig it. And, you know, I'm somebody who believes that Overwatch would make a lot of sense on the Switch. If they busted their butts and spent a lot of money to make that game work on the Switch, holy cow, they would make a killing with that game on the Switch. So I expect some of this stuff to actually happen in 2018, in year two for the Switch. And if it does, combined with, you know, the pretty positive lineup of first-party games I think we can expect, dudes, look out. I mean, 2018 won't be nearly as good as 2017, but it will absolutely be a phenomenal and super successful year. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's really everything that I wanted to touch on here. I just wanted to, a couple of days after the one-year anniversary, riff a little bit on year two, since we're now, whatever, 2 or 3, we're what, 2 days actually into year two for the Nintendo Switch. And it's not every day that you get a brand new Nintendo generation and a new Nintendo console. So it's nice to be able to talk about it while it's still fairly new. The first birthday of the Switch has come and gone. It's a monumental thing. So successful. Nintendo pulled such an incredible 180, and I think we're all really proud of them and really happy about it. So, you know, congrats to the Switch, congrats to Nintendo, congrats to all of us, the gamers, because obviously we win having a great Nintendo console. And I also said this on the podcast this weekend, when Nintendo is healthy like they are right now, I also think it's just good for the video game industry across the board. Honestly, guys, I really feel that way. Like, we always want Sony and Microsoft, we want them healthy as well, but Nintendo specifically, they got that special sauce, that special recipe, that when they're on point and they're on fire, it literally, I think, breathes life and vitality into everyone else in the industry around them, and we all win. I know it sounds cheesy, oh, what's the gamers? But, like, we the gamers truly win when that happens, as dorky as that sounds. Like, I actually genuinely believe that. So what do you guys think about year 2? Do you think it could be kind of like I assumed, a very solid follow-up year, but still definitely not as successful as year 1? Do you think it actually could be more successful? Will Nintendo release more games and more surprises? Do you think it's going to be a complete garbage heap and maybe they're just going to completely fall off compared to year 1? I don't really know that many people would expect that, but you never know. If that is your opinion, I do want you to share it below. And that'll be it for me. So thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of 2 Review, and I'll catch you next time on another video.